If you grew up in Jamaica, chances are your mornings would start with a hot beverage, and regardless of what it was made from, it was called tea. This week on The Good Life, we highlight what many Jamaicans refer to as tea, and the numerous benefits that your grandmother may have told you about.
My name is Norman Wright. I am the Managing Director of Perishables Jamaica Limited, and we manufacture teas under the Tops and Sipper Cuppa Ital Jamaican brands. Perishables Jamaica Limited commenced operations in 1980. It was a year when Jamaica had a lot of turmoil going on with our political parties. People were either going or staying. And I chose to stay in Jamaica and start Perishables Jamaica Limited with what was 300 Jamaican dollars, the equivalent of 175 US dollars, and at today's rate of exchange it would be about $23,000. We made that start, we planted that seed, we have watered it and watched it growing in the 37 year, and we are extending the brand with the Sipper Cuppa range. We in Jamaica look at every hot beverage other than coffee as tea. So you have cocoa tea, chocolate tea, you have peppermint tea and bush teas. But real tea, straight tea is, as it says, tea that's grown in India, Ceylon, Kenya, and that's a plant that has its own unique claim. We loosely, globally still refer to hot beverages as teas, but they're really tisanes, as the proper classification is. We as a people have a rich heritage of healing herbs, and over time we have lost a lot of that knowledge because we have adopted the Western lifestyle, and so black tea is a Western style and we adopted it. But with the emergence of herbal medicine to the forefront again globally, and 70% of the world population depends on primary herbs and spices to deal with healthcare because they don't have access to modern pharmaceutical medicine. And so we as a country, and certainly we as a company, have a mandate to develop indigenous agricultural products and byproducts. And the herbs and spices niche is where we have gone in, and we have sought to bring these traditional healing herbs and package them in a consistent manner, in a proper quality format, and giving it to the Jamaican consumer that they know when they buy a pack of Cersei, it's a consistent quality Cersei before we put it on the shelf. Guinea hen weed. If you smell it, it's actually loaded with sulfur. It's loaded with sulfur, and that's one of the benefits of the sulfur products. They tend to help in terms of cleaning and attending to the body's immune system. This product is John Charles, and we actually are working on a project with this John Charles and this one, which is Jack in the Bush. In Jamaican folklore, these are good cold bush. This is moringa, and this moringa, you can eat it straight out. This is natural protein. So if you find yourself anywhere and you're hungry, you get just a thing here, drink some water, and you have natural energy. So you can add it to your salad and eat it raw, or you can just steam it down like callaloo, and you add your callaloo to it because it's natural plant protein, nature's gift to us. We recognize also that one of the benefits of moringa is that it acts as a fertilizer. So we have tried to plant some ginger here, So we planted 1, 2, 3, 4 different sets of gingers from 4 different locations. And we have added moringa to it on a weekly basis. And we're gonna see what the yield is like at the end of the project. This year is a special white turmeric. We got this plant from one of our suppliers, and we are planting it here with a view to growing it out. In much the same way we started perishables with $300, we're gonna take this white turmeric and grow it out and bring it into the production process eventually. This big tree here is called piaba. Woman piaba, man piaba, gully grand grand. Miss Lou, you know that one? You're too young for that. All right. It is one of the herbs that is used in dealing with period pains in traditional healing. And it's a product that our distributors asked us to bring to market, so we will be bringing this to market. This is what we call inflammation weed. And unfortunately, we don't have it in its full bloom, but these little red, green spots will turn red in another couple of days. People call it information weed, but it's inflammation weed. And this is one of our gifts that we don't utilize in Jamaica in any way, shape, or form. In much the same way, guava leaf. Guava leaf is natural to help you with any sort of stomach indigestion, diarrhea, vomiting diarrhea. And a lot of people leave a guava tree in their home. If they could just boil it and give the child, or they themselves have that guava leaf tea, and they would get relief. They head off to the doctor, the pharmacist, get dehydrated and didn't know the solution was at hand. It's the same thing with inflammation weed. In traditional healing, it is a herb that is respected and revered, and we expect to bring it to market again in the near future. This year is lemongrass under the Tops brand, and we export this product into the USA. It's one of our big sellers in the USA. This is donkey weed, Bushman Viagra. Bushman Viagra. This is what we started the business with in 1985. We used this product and blended it with black tea to create our first product and our flagship product, Tops Pep-O-Mint, which is a blend of black tea, which is a product that transformed the Jamaican black tea market to a herbal tea market. It was a change agent. That's why we have so many people enjoying herbal teas today and less people enjoying black tea. And we do have a Jamaican herb that is as good as black tea. It's called Search Me Heart. And that's another one of the products that will be coming to market.
Don't go anywhere. Learn more about the benefits of tea when The Good Life returns. Soon come. Welcome back to The Good Life. This week it's all about the benefits of what Jamaicans term as tea.
When one dries the herbs, one gets a concentration of the elements in a smaller package. Whereas if one has the fresh herb, it doesn't necessarily have the concentration that you would have in a dried herb, because you have lost the moisture. So when you have a fresh herb, it is herb plus water. When you get a dried herb, the water is out, so you have it's more concentrated in that area. And you rehydrate. When you rehydrate, you pretty much get back the benefit. In drying the herbs, you might lose some of the low notes, which are those products that have a low boiling point, so the heat will drive them off. And that might affect some of the benefits that you will get from those low notes. But generally speaking, The dried herb captures pretty much all that is in the herb once it's concentrated and dried. It's convenience. That's the bottom line. When I was a boy, we used to go catch a fowl, cut the neck off, and pick the feathers off, clean it up, and cook it. Now I go to the supermarket and I buy a leg or a breast or a whole chicken. It's the same thing with our tea bags. Instead of going out and go picking guava leaf because you have an upset stomach and diarrhea, which is what guava helps you with, you can go buy a pack of Sipper Cup of Ital Jamaican guava leaf tea bag in the supermarket, and you know that each tea bag is a consistent product with a dosage that should be good for you, 1.5 grams tea bag of dried herbs, and you should get the benefit from that package each time you use that package. If you go and pick 5 leaves today, 3 leaves tomorrow, 4 leaves, 6 leaves, you don't know what you're gonna actually end up with. But certainly if one is in the community and doesn't have access to tea bags, rule of thumb is you normally, like guava leaf, you take 3 or 4 leaves and you steep it and you get the benefit of it. A handful of leaves is something that one would kind of work with to get your 1.5 gram of dried herbs from. Coffee has its space, its niche, its following, and the herbal teas have their own following as well. So for me, and from what I know, coffee is a good stimulant that perks you up, but you get that same benefit from busy, because busy has some caffeine in it, but I think it's more presented in a form almost like it's blended with chocolate. It's a hybrid when you look at the busy. So when you drink busy, you get the caffeine benefit, but it's not as a high fast release as you get with the regular coffee. And in Africa, it's actually used for endurance when you take busy. Some people use it as a stimulant for that it starts to be aphrodisiac. You might find people drinking both, yeah? But generally speaking, the coffee person wants coffee at specific times. They will intersperse with tea, but a coffee person is generally, in my opinion, a coffee person. They need that caffeine at some point in time. The tea drinker, the person who wants to have a calm and restful sleep, will drink vervain or vervain because it's a calming herb. It's an adaptogen herb in much the same way that lemongrass or color mint will calm you. So depending on what the person wants, they will drink the tea, even if they are coffee drinkers, to get the benefit that they expect. And vervain is also a good worm medicine. The bitter bush. We don't produce enough cerasee. We've never produced enough cerasee. Whatever we produce is always sold. It's up there. Joining it would be Jamaican peppermint for us. And we have seen a significant improvement in the takeoff of moringa and guinea hen weed under the Sipper Cup brand. If we had ginger, maybe ginger would be in the mix, but we haven't been able to source consistent supplies of Jamaican ginger for the last 3 years, and chances are we won't for another 2, 3, 4 years. We pretty much are almost looking at taking Jamaican ginger out of our product mix because it's just the material isn't available in a consistent manner at a price that makes it marketable. Ginger shortage revolves around an issue of rhizome rot, which the government of Jamaica is fully aware of, the Scientific Council and all the relevant authorities are aware of the problem of ginger rhizome rot and its implications on the Jamaican economy. We import more ginger than we export, and Jamaica at one time was ranked probably third or fourth as a world producer of ginger. It's a commodity that if we were to spend some time, money and effort on it to deal with it, it could be resolved, I think. So we need to take charge of ginger. That's all I would like the government to do. The rest of things we can solve. Ginger. Oh yes, certainly there are lots of concerns about bush tea, and which is why on our packages we put the botanical name so that whoever is buying, they can go research the name of the product and see what the benefits are if they don't know the benefits already. And you have herbs like guinea hen weed, which have abortifacient properties. So if you are pregnant, you shouldn't take something like guinea hen weed. And then you have herbs like turmeric, which are anti-inflammatory, which are blood thinners. And the same thing goes for your guinea hen weed. So if you're using blood thinners, you wouldn't want to use the herbs with it because it would tend to thin your blood some more than you go to. And which is why we recommend on our products that you talk with your health provider and let them be aware of what it is you're doing. And you research carefully what benefits you can have from these herbs. But Dr. Pickin will probably tell you more about the drug-herb interactions and what can and cannot go.
One of the biggest myths is that anything that is natural is safe. That's a myth. That's quite clearly not true. Some of the most powerful poisons known to man are plants. One of the most powerful poisons right now is ricin. Ricin is derived from the castor oil bean. But if you process the castor oil bean, it's safe. The oil itself is safe. But if an adult chews 1 or 2 castor beans, they will probably end up in hospital, if not dead. So to say because things are natural, they're safe is a myth. So having said that, when it comes to medicinal plants, when it comes to bush medicine, the way people have used plants going back to thousands and thousands of years to the first human beings is through trial and error. Traditional use is one of the most important aspects of medicinal plant safety. So where you have a long history of traditional use, that history of traditional use will normally tell you which part of the plant can be used and how that plant part can be prepared. And also, traditional use will tell you generally how long you can take the plant for and the dose. In Jamaica and the Caribbean, that traditional use is an oral tradition. It's not written down. So that traditional knowledge is very important. And one of the key areas that we're doing research on is to actually document that traditional knowledge and make sure that that's documented and then given back into the communities so that that knowledge doesn't die out. And so Jamaicans and other people across the Caribbean continue to use medicinals. In fact, if anything, use more medicinal plants, but they use them safely. 73% of the people that we interviewed, and we did an island-wide survey, 73% still use Jamaican plants day in, day out. And a lot of the plants aren't necessarily used to treat illness. This is the other thing that excites me as a researcher. Jamaicans are very proactive in maintaining their health. So they don't necessarily wait until they're sick to take a plant. They will take a tea to stay healthy. And that, for me, from a public health perspective, is very interesting and very heartwarming. So I would say it's a very positive thing. And what I would hope is that that doesn't die out. Jamaicans have, compared to a lot of countries, the knowledge of medicinal plants is extraordinary here. really is quite extraordinary. People know which plants are good for particular health conditions. And many of those health conditions might be what doctors would call self-limiting. So they're conditions that may go away if you didn't do anything. But guess what? If you take a particular plant for that particular condition because it's troubling you and it brings you some relief, then you can say that that has a health benefit. But ultimately, the condition's going to go away. So bellyache gas is not a serious condition, but if you drink a herbal tea, it's going to make you feel better. But then you have plants where, as we start to do research, we actually find that they have significant health benefits. And so that's when it starts to get interesting to look at how people report using plants, and then you go away and do the research and you find, well, guess what? You may find people report its use because they find it's good over years and years or generations, they find it's very good. But then the pharmacologists and the ethnobotanists then look into a plant and find that it has other benefits. Or you may find a plant that people know is good in Jamaica for one condition is good for a whole range of other conditions in other countries. A lot of our pharmaceutical drugs have evolved from plant-based medicines. So the original plant-based treatment, going back to the 20s and 30s for syphilis, before antibiotics, was sarsaparilla. So they're looking at sarsaparilla as a medicine that can be used in the treatment of these antibiotic-resistant forms of syphilis.
Leaf of life. When you plant this, it generates many suckers or many plants. And each one of these nodules here, if you put it in the earth, will give you a plant.
Leaf of life can be prepared either by squeezing the leaf and drinking it straight or infusing it as a tea. In Jamaica, people report its use as a cold remedy. Anytime you have sore throat, cold, you take leaf of life. But that plant in Nigeria has gone through clinical trials as what's called a tocolytic agent. And a tocolytic agent is a drug or a plant-based medicine or a pharmaceutical drug that prevents a woman from going into labour prematurely. It actually calms down uterine contractions. So if you have a woman who's going to go into premature labour and you want to stop that, you give a tocolytic. So they did a clinical trial in Nigeria where they gave an extract of leaf of life and they compared it in a clinical trial with a pharmaceutical drug. Both had exactly the same effect. The leaf of life worked as effectively as the pharmaceutical. But guess what? There was an added benefit. The tocolytic has side effects. So you have to weigh up the risk to benefit to the fetus with preventing the birth. But the leaf of life doesn't have those same side effects. So in Germany, there are clinics that actually use leaf of life extract and have done since the 50s. And again, it's been through clinical studies there as a plant-based tocolytic agent.
That said, it's easy to conclude that there are many more plants that Jamaicans use as teas without knowing their additional benefits. One can only hope that the tradition of tea drinking continues, bearing in mind all things in moderation.